Hey, Toothers, it's me. It's been a month, I guess. I have to double check my schedule to see when I last posted anything. I have been working on some things, but this month has been pretty weird. Pretty weird. I tried several recordings earlier on in the month, and I just wasn't pleased with it. I may not be pleased with this one either. I feel compelled to kind of stick it out, I suppose. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the news, going on politically. The things that are happening around Trump 2.0 is, as predicted, uh, horrible. Um, I suspect they'll get worse, but I'm cynical like that. So hopefully I'm wrong, but so far I haven't been. But, when you're kind of vague and just saying it's going to suck, it's not really much of a prediction. It's more of a, yeah, probably. So we'll see how this all kind of comes together, kind of falls apart, I suppose. It's so obvious how horrible this was all going to be, and for all the people that believed anything that he suggested he was going to do in a way that was good for people, yeah, he's not doing that. Is it harmful to people? Yeah, he's going to do that. This mass deportation thing is people in such terror, farmers, right? People that run big farms that we rely upon for food say if things continue like this and it I mean, it's impacting families that work these farms or that work at these farms, right? Whether they're specifically undocumented or not, they may have, relatives that are here under various legal situations, right? They're avoiding work. They're scared to go to these farms because of the ICE raids. And one of the farmers has said that if things continue in this fashion, we could get to a point where farms are unable to provide food to the country, and within 2 days, we'll be fucked. So, for all of the people out there who probably aren't listening to me anyway, who voted for this, nice job. For all of the people out there who are excited that people are being deported, oh, this is one of the side effects. Uh, this is one of the things that's going to affect you directly. Yeah, for those, I mean, unaware, probably none of you, but I was in the hospital last week. I had an infection that went septic, and the doctor was like, "Oh, we gotta remove this," and I'm like, "Just give me antibiotics." And he's like, "I think you need to go to the hospital." So I went to the hospital, and they dug it out of me. So there's a hole in me that didn't used to exist, and I'm more functional than I was when I had the infection, but it's still not ideal. Some things still take a lot of time and energy out of me, so I'm still moving kind of slow. But I am uh, behind on work. I feel more empty in some respects, but I feel like that makes me more committed to want to do more of the things that I want to do. Right, to do more of the reading, to do more of the taking notes, writing blog posts, doing podcasts about this stuff. Podcasts. I mean, the word seems so silly to me. I'm doing a recording that people may or may not listen to. I guess it's a podcast, right? I mean, I think the difference between a podcast and like a radio program is that radio programs get vetted. Podcasts are just whoever wants to put something out there, like me, putting something out there. And one of the things that um, my brother and I were chatting earlier today about, he and I both care an awful lot about things we can't resolve, but I am more of I mean, I think the only way that I could describe this, because I believe he cares more than I do, is that I don't like, I don't understand, or I get mad at when people believe the stupid. It's one thing to be like conned, I guess, or just confused, or just a kind of a lack of understanding. But when there's blatant evidence in front of your face and you're still like, nah, man, right? That stuff pisses me off, right? That stuff gets to me. For my brother, the fact that the stupid stuff exists at all bothers him, right? I mean, he cares about it at a different level than I do. We still get mad about stuff. We still get mad at each other sometimes. But you know, he also wants everyone to be okay. Like, he wants people to be able to just be okay. And he, you know, I mean, I'll have to we'll have to have some kind of discussion about that at a later point. But I mean, I want people to be okay too. But I really want them just to think more. Like, that seems to be more my bag. Do I want people to be okay? Yeah, I want people to be okay. I want people to be able to live their lives. I want to be able to skip a lot of the stupid nonsense that we have to deal with at a constant level, right? Politically, socially, religiously. Um, it's just the worst spot to be in history, I think. I don't think we're in some kind of weird, like lull in our political. I think we're in a moment in history that they will write about, and they will not write about as fondly. I guess depending on who wins, long term, who uh, who gets to take the mantle of, we're writing history this way, whose bias we're going to be writing it in. There is some pushback on Trump. Has it been? Oh, why am I just sitting here? I can go around this guy. It hasn't been tremendous. There's been a little, but he's still getting things through that he wants to get through for the most part. And I remember this got a good point. I mean, I'm sorry. So anyway, so he sent me a video uh, where I'm trying to remember what it was about. I think it was the claim in the video that it was like a Navajo fairy tale kind of thing, right? And it's like a mountain lion and a sparrow, and the sparrow's flying towards a fire, and the mountain lion's like, "What are you doing?" The sparrow's like, "I got to do what I can." And the sparrow goes and gets some water out of the river and drops very tiny amount of water on the fire, and then the forest spirits see this, and they conjure up a bunch of rain to help put out the fire. Now, to be fair, that's about as effective as what Trump keeps blathering on about in terms of the LA wildfires. But at least with this story, there's heart to it, right? And something that I have believed for a while, and something I've actually told him and a few people, we are not individually capable of saving the world. The most we can do is affect, we're little pebbles in a pond, right? Most we can do is affect the little ripple that we cause when we make a splash. That's the best we can do. But if more people splash the same way in their circles, well, maybe we'd all be in a better place. Maybe we'd all um, be able to get out of this nonsense. Yeah. So, I'm trying to navigate all that. I'm trying to get back to work. Uh, right now, I'm off to fetch my child for the first time in a couple weeks. Today, everything I've had going on. A nice little surprise for him, and I'll see my daughter, and she'll be happy and give me a hug. And then their giant derby dog will be very excited to see me. He'll try and jump on me, and I don't have to murder him, because I do not think being jumped on by a big derby dog is going to be a good idea for me. So, we'll see. We'll see how today goes. But I am trying to figure out how to get back on track, get back to doing something that is more meaningful to me, because I'm tired. it's so easy to just play in the echo chamber about how terrible things are and are going and are going to be. That's easy. I don't know enough in and of myself to do any kind of real deep dive. So the best I give are highlights or references to other people that I listen to that I like, that I appreciate, that I currently believe, that I currently am on a similar path towards where they're at. But I'm not an economist. I'm not a historian. I'm not running anything by training or trade that that I talk about. Right. This is all just me doing stuff that I think is interesting. So I am hoping to go back to more of that. I have too many books to read to keep blathering on about the news that we all see is terrible and unrelenting. I would like to try to focus more on the things that are beneficial to me, and I feel could be beneficial for for others. I'm not turning. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to happen. Um, so what else? What else? What am I talking about? There is just a lot happening for people. I feel like that's always true, but it just I don't know. Maybe just getting older, you start to just have more things happen to the people around you. They start having more things happen. There are more risks. There are um, kind of fewer potential rewards. We're just trying to. A lot of us are just trying to get through the day. That's not always easiest. People in that code, but they're gonna figure it out. Yay! Okay. Sorry, I'm actively trying to drive. So I don't know. I have a lot to read. I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to reread. I have a lot of notes to take, and I have a lot of work to do. Honestly, being out for a week is not ideal for a couple reasons. One, it gets you behind, but two, I don't get paid. I don't get paid for time off. I don't get paid for emergency surgery. I get $0 for that, and I have to pay. I can't wait to see what my actual final bills are for the hospital and the surgeon. But that should be uh, terribly entertaining. I feel like I hit my lifetime limit, but we'll see. I have to double check my insurance. Just the realities of existing, but I mean, I have, I don't know that I have hope for the future. I mean, I think the thing that keeps kind of driving me bonkers is the talk about, well, we're only going to have 4 years of this, right? Or, in a couple of years there'll be some elections and some congressional seats may change. Yeah, you think that's going to happen? You think we're going to get that? You think that the richest man on the planet who bribed people and who spent $270 million to get access to the president, to the point where we joke that he's the actual president and who's Hitler saluting. Like that's not an autistic thing. That's not an excitable boy thing. That's that's a that's a Nazi salute, that motherfucker. Right? And to then go and tell the far right wing party in fucking Germany itself to show them support. Come on. Get real difficult to suggest that Elon is nothing less than a Nazi sympathizer, let alone being super invested in it. There's whole thing in Israel. I'm curious how that's going to play out. I mean, they did what they normally do, which is we agree to a ceasefire, then we're going to bomb the fuck out of you until it starts. Then we're going to keep doing it and just not admit to it. Right? We're gonna shoot people trying to go back home to their open air prison because that's their home. It's not that the whole world needs to burn, but there are times the apocalyptic teachings that I was raised on sound like a good idea. Like, you know what? This planet needs a rip and reset. because we are fucking it up. And even the idea of not wanting to be around anymore, that's just that's so much more just the aggravation of mortality, right? The existential annoyance of existence. I don't know. I just got nothing to do with sadness or depression and everything to do with just irritated. I just want things. I want things to be better. I want people to think more about people. I want there to be this sense. Yeah, maybe I'm becoming a democratic socialist or whatever. Which I am looking into. I need to understand it more, but I definitely feel like there are better ways to deal with the function of capitalism and the details of capitalism than the way it's been going. Right? Those at the top are excited about another Gilded Age. I saw a thing recently about how it's the first time since 1928 that Republicans have controlled fucking everything. And then someone replied, "Do they remember what happened in 29? Stock market crash, right? This could a lot of the stuff that Trump has discussed, including tariffs. Economists are like, this is a bad idea. This is not how you do things. But he is just a bully. He is the bully of the earth. This motherfucker, and we have to just navigate that existence because there aren't people willing to say you're out of your mind. You're going to ruin it for everybody. Democratic Party's lost its fucking mind on largely. It feels like the GOP has shifted far to the right, but they at least seem to be organized collectively, right? And Democrats like, hey, you should just not follow them because they're fascists. Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, I agree with that. That's a brilliant argument. I think that's fantastic. I think that's the argument I was largely depending upon because it's insane to me to think that a country that prides itself for its constitution is going to vote in somebody who, although he has said that he supports the Constitution, he's also said that we should be able to do away with it. Uh, the White House website took down the Constitution. That page isn't there anymore. So that's another kind of oddity. Really, it's really weird to see where things are at, where they're going. I didn't even bother reading through Project 2025 with enough people that have read through and heard about it, how terrible it is, how focused fuckery it is, and uh, here we are. So, yeah, that's easy to talk about. It's easy to bring up. I think we're all kind of on the same page as far as the news goes, where things being pretty shitty. I think the most I bring to the table at this point is, hey, have you heard? Right, in case you missed it, this has happened. So, I will probably continue to bring those updates because they bother me, but I want to get back to my critical thinking book, right? I want to get more into my moral philosophy, my thinking about how to make the world better, how to help people see things differently, see others differently. And it's probably only going to affect my own little circle, right? Unless something really weird happens, people are like, hey, this fat guy's got a really good idea. Yeah, unless that happens and it spreads far and wide, you know, just a pebble in a pond. But I'm finding that interesting. I'm finding that fulfilling enough to keep doing it. So, I think sometimes it's hard. It can be hard for people to even do that, even find something that is interesting, right? We don't live. I mean, I don't know. We aren't raised necessarily to think about our hobbies. We have stories and teachers and people that want to encourage our talents, things that we are good at. That's not just being a worker bee. It's not always the best thing, not always the right thing. Uh, with all of this YouTube, Twitch fame, TikTok fame, um, I think kids get a skewed idea of what they can do, what they can become, and what they should be working on, working toward. But I think that if you're, able to make that work, great. If you're able to try it out and not make it work, hey, you tried, you put in the effort, gave it your all. Maybe it's not your thing. Maybe it's not the thing that you could do full time, right? I mean, what I'm doing here with this, I keep saying it's just me trying to process existing. Um, and I really hope that I'm not just screaming into the void, or I'm not just an echo chamber, that I am providing something, some distraction, some meaning, some interest to get your brain going, get your heart pumping, maybe get your rage. But we need a plan for some of this stuff, and I don't think that that's where I fit in. I want to believe that I can take what's out there and put it together into something that might be useful for people to consider, for people to think about. Um, but I don't, at best, they tell you to write your Congress people, right? Call the governor. I mean, just bombard them with your grievances, your concerns. I don't know what that means that anything's going to happen, but it's the only thing that I can think of to really do um, with any kind of consistency to try to get your words heard. I'm not opposed to protesting. I think it's important. I think it's relevant. I think the people that focus on when protests become riots are disingenuous, or they're not paying attention. And it is a curious thing to me that people getting uppity trying to protest for what they believe in, for what they believe is actually correct, which is not fucking fascism or racism. They're met with violence, and that violence is okay. No matter what it is that people think that they want, who it is they think is right already. I think that can be the hardest part, is trying to get people to understand or to accept that, hey, at the very least, maybe you should rethink your position, or you should hear some of this information, or you should try to gather a different set of actual facts instead of just taking from the various sources that you have, the various, probably biased sources. Some of my sources are definitely biased, but they're biased in a direction that I appreciate, and the information is verifiable. Right? You're able to look this stuff up. You're able to find out that what they're talking about is true. I'm probably going to get back into Chomsky again. It's not been known to provide a lot of good news, right? He spent decades revealing information about the horrors of, at the very least, this country upon the world, never mind others, including the Israeli situation. He is proof that that information exists, that it's out there, and that we're not doing things in a way that benefits each other, doing it in a way that benefits those at the top. Anyway, look, I really appreciate the 2.5 of you that are probably going to listen to this. And I really do hope that you're all better, that you're all navigating this whirlwind of shit as well as possible. Never mind your own individual whirlwind, right? We all have our own things we're trying to deal with on top of all this other nonsense. So, I definitely appreciate different levels of suck, the different Venn diagram of what's causing me problems today. And I do, I do care, and I am sorry, and I do want better for uh, all of us. And there are some people I'm not opposed to them being set on fire. That's just the it's just the truth of it. So hope you have a pleasant rest of your day. Thanks for listening. Brush your teeth.